This is a meeting between Roger Morgan, Service User Consultant, and Jim Leyland, Operations Director Inclusion at Touchstone, at the time when Jim is getting ready to leave Touchstone and go to other places. How do you think that your position has changed from when you came to Touchstone to now when you are leaving it?
Hi, Roderic. Quite a lot, I think. I still have the same responsibilities and I still manage staff, and I still have the same lead responsibilities around safeguarding and co-production and equality and diversity. But I think the organisation's grown very significantly, and with that, everything else has to play catch up. So I think I feel busier. It feels quite fast paced. It feels like there's a lot going on. And on most of the time, that's a good thing, because that shows that Touchstone is growing and is respected, and commissioners and organisations want to work with us. So that's a really good thing. But in terms of my job and how it's changed, I feel like it's grown. I think there's a lot of responsibility. It's making sure that staff are supported in terms of their day-to-day work, to make sure that they're safe and that service users are safe. It's about developing policies and procedures. So we've developed since I came, a separate adults policy for safeguarding and a separate children's policy for safeguarding. We've done a lot of work around getting the right people to come and do the training for us around safeguarding. We've made big connections with the Safeguarding Adults boards and developed the safeguarding group at Touchstone. That includes service users, it includes trustees, and it includes staff. So that's a big difference, because that then leads on to working collectively and co-production and people making decisions together. And the co-production at the beginning of when I started in 2015, I don't think people really had heard of co-production. And I think with Alison and myself at the beginning, it was like trying to help people understand what that meant. It wasn't just service user involvement, it was more than that. It was about people being around the table with lived experience to influence decisions about their own lives. And I think the growth of the co-production standards and co-production training and the understanding that Touchstone led on has now been developed outside the organisation, and it's a big, important factor in all organisations and people understanding what it means and how the people can get more involved and have a voice. So that's a big change since the beginning, from not even knowing what it was to now it being really one of our values and embedded in the work that we do. So there are a couple of areas where I think things have changed quite significantly.
Thank you. What have you liked most about your time with Touchstone?
Oh, so many things, I think. I think the people make Touchstone. I've never worked anywhere like it. I've always worked in the statutory sector as a social worker or as a manager or as a commissioner or as an inspector. And coming to Touchstone was a bit of a brave new world for me, because I'd never worked in the third sector. And I was blown away very quickly. I think day one, we were doing a treasure hunt round Leeds with other managers. And I'm thinking, where have I come to here? There was never any permission to do that when I worked for the local authority. And it was all about that first impression of people caring about each other and the value of the staff and the value of each other and the service users we work with, because without that, it wouldn't work. You can have a list of values, you can have a list of policies, you can have a list of tasks, but what actually makes Touchstone is the people that are the glue that holds all that together, because actually that makes it a really positive experience. It makes it real. It's hard on some days, it's challenging on some days, it's it's hard. We work with some of the most vulnerable people in West and South Yorkshire, and I think it's really important to say that that takes a lot of energy, commitment, time. Every single member of staff in Touchstone, is a part of delivering a quality and humble and caring and kind way of working with somebody who's at the lowest ebb in life. And that's why I came to Touchstone, because it's about reaching out to people who need us. And what really empowers me is how then we encourage people to then reach in, and not only then reach in, to then actually become part of the solution to help the next person. And I think that's what I really feel very strongly about Touchstone, is that it's a very big, caring family. But in terms of my role, it's making sure that everybody I work with is supported, but I also feel supported as well. And I think it's about making sure that you link with people across the organisation, get to know them. Some days that's quite difficult because of the day job, you have to keep going. There's a lot of demands, but actually the time and permission to go and have away days, or to go and have a lunch with your team, or to meet people, is very vital, because that checking in with yourself and checking in with your staff and checking in with service users to understand where they're at and how they feel is actually not just a permission to stop, but it's actually a permission to hear what other people are saying, so that you don't feel disconnected, that you're always trying to kind of make sure that you are understanding where people are at, so that you can make things better. Because a big aspect of my job is around quality assurance, and all that means is making sure that we stop from time to time, take stock of what we're doing, and then see how we can improve that, and improve that with people to actually then learn and grow. So I think, in answer to your question, this is about making sure that that I am a better person for working here at Touchstone. Definitely.
Thank you. Is there anything which you regret about your time at Touchstone?
I don't think I work on having regrets. I think the things I could have done more of, and I think the things I could have done better. I think, there's never enough time, and there's never enough, capacity to do everything you want to do. And there's lots of things in the new world when I leave that I'll be asking Sophie and Dave and Arfan and other members of the senior leadership team and other managers to consider, but they have to put their own stamp on that when I'm not here. But, I think we've achieved a lot of things, and we can achieve a lot more. It's not just about me, it's about the team. And I think, I'd like to see co-production develop in the organisation. I'd like us to see more co-produced forums and decision making at a high level for service users and people with experience. I'd like to see the diversity action group grow and have a co-produced approach. But I don't have any regrets. I just have a kind of not a sadness, but a feeling of that there's always more to do, and I wish I could have done more. But that's not about beating myself up. That's about making sure that message gets across, and that we build on what we started, really. So yeah, I think it's just more about making sure that I get the message across that we're all contributing to the values of Touchstone around inclusion and diversity and co-production and recovery, and that we don't lose some of that. We make sure that we are still the leaders in mental health around those things, and make sure that we support our staff, a very diverse group of staff from all different backgrounds that represent the people we work with. And that really, for me, is what other organisations want more of, and we're good at that, but we don't want to kind of be complacent about that, and we want to make sure that we feel that we can employ a rich fabric of people who can help us grow, but also to ensure that it is a safe place to work as well, and that people feel included, and can speak up and come up with ideas and innovations and challenges and feel comfortable to do that.
Yeah. What are you hoping for in the future?
I'd love a rest, but I'm not going to have a rest. I think for the future, the job I've got, the new one, is around a lot of the stuff we do here. It's in Wakefield, it's working with public health, it's working to develop the third sector, and it's working to develop co-production. So I don't think I would have got that job if I hadn't worked at Touchstone. So I'm very excited to be able to try and develop those things in a different place. A place that has a lot of the health inequalities, a place that hasn't used the third sector as maybe as advancedly as Leeds, or has even wants to develop a co-produced way of working and local communities to have a voice. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm excited about the future. I'm very sad to leave Touchstone, but I'm also very excited with this new challenge. I mean, for the future, I mean, after the COVID and the pandemic and all the challenges we've had, I'm looking forward to having more of a business as usual, if you like. I think we've all been really strong in dealing with the challenges that we've all faced, and it would be nice, hopefully, I know COVID hasn't gone away yet, but it would be nice to kind of have a sense of being able to do more things spontaneously, and I know we have to have risk assessments. I know we all can't meet face to face fully at the moment, and those are the things I'm looking forward to, in having a sense of seeing people again and getting out to the places where the people we need to speak to are, so that we can get back to what we're good at, really.
Well, following on from what you said, do you think that you should really be taking a break between Touchstone and your new job, perhaps as a time to reflect on what you've been doing in the past?
I would love 6 months off. So if you're offering it, Roderic, I will take it. Thank you. Yes. I'm having 10 days off between leaving this job and starting my new job, which is good. And it's happens to be Christmas and New Year. So it'd be nice to spend time with friends and family. So I am looking forward to that short break. In an ideal world, I would love a longer break, like you say, to reflect, to recharge, and then to start something different. But in the scheme of things, a 10-day holiday between two jobs is actually a bit of a luxury. So I think, I'll hopefully pace myself in my new job. I'll get an induction. I'll be the new boy again. So that'll be different. But yeah, of course, I'd like a break. I think we all would. But I think it's just about making sure that it's very hard to switch off from one thing and start something new. So even when I start in January, I'll still be thinking of Touchstone, and I'll still be kind of winding down, but also getting used to new people and all the rest of it. But I think there'll still be a lot of connectivity. There's a lot of things that we have things in common with. So there are forums that I go to in it now that I probably will go. I still will go to, like the Mental Health Alliance in Wakefield. Still have links with the Safe Space and those kind of things. So it's not a kind of complete closure. I think there'll be some connectivity to Touchstone in the future.
So are you raring to go in your new job?
Raring to go. I think it's important to say that I'm excited, but it still seems a long way away. I think this interview is 6 weeks before I go, so it still feels a long way away. So ask me nearer the time, but I'm excited to go, and I'm excited to try something else and build on all the skills I've learned here. But I've still got a lot to do here before I go.
Yes. What do you think is the most significant thing you've done for Touchstone?
Say that again, Roderic. Sorry.
What do you think is the most significant thing you've done for Touchstone?
I always think that's a question for other people to answer. But the two things that stand out for me are the development of co-production work and being leaders around that, both with the conferences and the standards and a way of working, and getting other people, not just in Touchstone, but in other parts of the mental health system, to understand what it really means. Not just some tokenistic thing, that it's a really vital and important aspect that people who use services, even the most vulnerable and even the people who are in recovery and who aren't well, still have a voice in their decisions about, you know, the care they get, how they influence services going forward, no matter what stage they're at in that, whether it be engaging with somebody with a Touchstone Loves Food parcel to ask people how they are and how we can help them, right through to sitting on the Operations and Quality Standards Committee like yourself, or on the Board of Trustees, or, you know, on a strategic board, to actually not just be a token gesture as a service user sat there, so we've invited a service user, let's tick a box. Actually, no, let's actually hear what people have got to say and do something about it. So even as we haven't got there yet, with a long way to go, but that is one of the biggest things and shifts we've had over the last few years since I've been here. And I think the other thing is the safeguarding group itself. That started with Leeds Safeguarding Adults Board coming to us to ask about, speaking to service users about how they felt about going through a safeguarding process, and that enabled us to hear what people had to say. But more than that, we then became quite influential in the citizen-led guidance around Talk to Me, Hear My Voice. So when Catherine and Dawn and Billy were doing the video, that for me was them telling their message about why safeguarding is important and what they would expect and how they would be expected to be treated. And that's very powerful, I think. And I think that then led us to the first co-produced group we've got in Touchstone of trustees, service users and staff, who actually hold the organisation to account with the safeguarding dashboard, and meet to talk about everything to do with that. And those, I would say, are the two strongest areas where I feel I've contributed to, but I certainly haven't done that on my own.
So why have you decided to move on?
It's a good question, Roderic. You know, I've worked here nearly, well, 6.5, 7 years, and it's a hard job. You know, I'm not going to say it's not. I love my job, but it's, you know, there's a lot of work to do. And I think the positive reason is I can grow some of the skills I've learned here in a new place, and have a strategic, visionary approach to that in Wakefield, and help them to develop and grow. So there's lots of positive reasons for going. The similarities with Touchstone is it's about tackling health inequalities. It's about re-leveling the balance between people in terms of their health, the voice that they have, the power that they have. So I'm very enthused in doing that. But I think it's the first job I've left, or I'll be leaving, where I love my job and I love the people in it, and I'll miss everybody here, because they make it what it is. They make me, you know, come in every day and want to do the job. But change is inevitable. You know, Alison went and got a new job, a very, very high profile job. Arfan's the new chief executive. Sophie and Dave are going to be the new operations directors. You know, it's not just about people. I think it's about how we work and how we work together. And actually, Touchstone's bigger than the person. So whilst I'm sad to go, I'm very excited to go. But I also think we're in a good place to grow, and it's another chapter. You know, change is a good thing. So yeah, I leave with a smile, and I leave with a heavy heart as well. And I think it's about making sure that, you know, that we look to the future, you know, celebrate what we've done, but then have an eye on to the next challenges and the next initiatives, and the pioneering work that we do. And you know, I think Touchstone is in a great place to do that.
Do you have any ambitions to reach the top in your career?
Any ambitions to what, Roderic?
Reach the top.
reach the top. Well, I don't think top's measured by seniority. Top's measured by about what difference you make. And, you know, I've worked my way up in my career. Care worker, social worker, team manager, service manager, head of service. Now I'm a director. I've been an inspector with CQC, and all those are very influential jobs. But the one thing they all have in common is to make sure that people are included, supported, cared for, and valued. And top for me is making sure that all of those things carry on. So, you know, when I worked for Touchstone, I was a director, I am a director, I feel I am at the top. And, you know, aspiration is based on lots of things. So, you know, I am kind of satisfied with the view that being at the top is actually being happy, and you know, and that's more important to me.
Well, thank you very much for that interview, Jim, and we all wish you the best for the future.
Thank you ever so much for the opportunity, Roderic. You look after yourself, and thank you.